Halo Infinite came out a couple years ago, and it is definitely by far the most controversial Halo game probably ever. Now I am a huge Halo fan. I played the games a couple years back with the Master Chief Collection on PC. I loved them. I now own Halo 1 and 2, like the old computer versions boxed. I don't even use them. I just love having these on my shelf because I love Halo. I've always been a huge Halo fan, although I've never really delved into the controversies of it. When I went back when I used Reddit, I would never touch the Halo subreddit purely for this reason, because it's a disaster on there. But Halo Infinite dropped. I finally got around to completing it. It was on my games list, which are a list of games that I aim to get through the year. I think I have 4 left now. And Halo Infinite was the most recent one. I just beat it a couple days ago. And it was okay. It's a little rough because how I feel with Halo, of course it's a first-person military shooter where you play as sort of the superhero of military shooters. But the original Halo games were more linear. They were, well, yeah, they were mission-based shooters who usually had allies with you, especially in Halo Reach. And with Halo Infinite, they took a sharp turn where instead of focusing on being a story-based linear shooter, they've made it into this open-world adventure, they call it, where you can explore part of an entire Halo ring and discover its secrets and what's going on. And while it sounds very good in concept, it sounds amazing in concept, I will say, I feel like the execution of Halo Infinite was a little not right. Like, okay, I think that how they put Halo into open world, for the most part, I think they did a very good job. I think the equipment was good. The grapple shot, of course, is the most fun fucking thing you can use in the game. I could not stop using it in the game. There are so many like wacky tricks you can do with it because it charges up just enough to where you could climb a mountain if you really tried, but it wouldn't be the easiest thing in the world. Although I think Halo, from a gameplay standpoint, when you look at the old gameplay of the old games, then you see how they've taken this old gameplay, which is also a thing that they tried to do very much. They undid everything they did in Halo 5 in terms of gameplay advancements, like true iron sights for the most part. There's still a couple. The jet boost in Halo 5, it's now a piece of equipment that you can use twice in maybe 30 seconds, but it's not an active part of the gameplay anymore. And I think with them going back, scaling back to this older style of gameplay, but also making it into an open world game, I feel very much hindered the experience of Halo Infinite, because it doesn't mesh, I feel. When you're grappling around and you're shooting people, but you're also a tank, but you're also mobile, it just doesn't click right for me in my head. And I think that was a big detriment, not because of how the game was actually designed in itself, but simply the fact that I don't feel like Halo should be an open world game. On top of that, unfortunately, the open world is boring. It's boring. There's nothing there. It's barely even an open world, to be honest. It's like 3 sections with equipment scattered throughout. And while I do enjoy doing the activities because all I really want to do is just do Halo shit, the world itself has nothing. No actual interesting details in it. You can find audio logs, but just audio logs, or equipment, or people. And then you get Valor, which I didn't even touch. I don't care about Valor. The whole point of Halo is that you're switching weapons as you go on. You're finding new equipment on the ground. You're taking your enemy's equipment. So what point does Valor have in this where you can now summon any weapon or vehicle that you desire at a certain point? There's simply no purpose to it, because you're gonna switch out in 5 minutes when that weapon runs out of ammo. So what's the point? It doesn't work for me. I did collect all of the Mjolnir armor lockers simply because I wanted the multiplayer cosmetics, which I'll go into later. And like it was fine. It wasn't that fun. I mean, grappling's kind of fun, but there's nothing to do. There's no story to this Halo open world. It's just another one of the Halo rings that's apparently a little unique, and that's pretty much all you get out of it. I don't know. The gameplay just it didn't really work with me. On top of that, I find a lot of open world games fall into this struggle of map design. Like if you take, for example, a game like Fortnite, if it was all just green every time, every day, the game wouldn't be that fun. That's why they changed the map. That's why there's different biomes. That's why there's visual variety throughout these games. Even in something like Minecraft, like you can't just do a bunch of forests. You want to play other biomes. You need to see something other than the same shit every time. And unfortunately, with Halo's open world, it's the same shit every time. The most visual variety I saw in this game was a lake. A lake! Near one of the end sections, there is a pretty decently big lake. And that was it. That was the only unique thing I've seen in this game that wasn't like a collectible or a Forerunner tower, which is copy-pasted throughout the map. By the way, alongside in this gameplay, you're either in this open world, this samey open world, or you're in these samey Forerunner structures, which all have the same assets. They all look the same. It was really disappointing gameplay-wise. Like, the actual Halo gunplay is always fun, and I will always commend that for just being there. But for a game that tailored itself to be an evolution of the Halo franchise in a way that would appeal to the hardcore fans, I guess, more, which honestly they shouldn't really do. It created kind of just a dull experience, unfortunately. And on top of that, the story wasn't really anything. I enjoyed my scenes with Weapon and Echo 216, and the Cortana flashbacks I didn't really find entertaining at all, but whatever. The plot itself, I like the concept of it. I like the idea of the Weapon, Echo, and Master Chief all doing their thing together, but it feels like 3 things happen in this game, and that's really it. Like, oh, we have to stop the banished guy, so we go reclaim territory. You do a thing, and then you do another thing, and then there's nothing really to it. Like, every mission in Halo had a different objective, a different purpose, and of course, a visual variety. In Halo Infinite, you're kind of doing the same things over and over. It's always just, oh, we're in a big battlefield. Oh, we have to take down these giant batteries that we have to just bash twice to explode. Oh, it's just the same shit with slightly different layouts. And even then, the assets are reused. The layouts aren't that unique. It's unfortunate. Because Halo, I really like Halo. I love 1 to 3, 1 to 4 even, and Reach and everything. But Halo Infinite just didn't really do a great job, I feel. In terms of performance, I run a decent, I'd say a decent computer. It's starting to run a little in the ancient era, I guess. I have a 2060 laptop with I think it was an 8-core processor, 16 gigabytes of RAM, which is slowly not becoming the standard anymore. It's nothing crazy, but it somehow could not run Halo that well almost ever. From Googling this, it turns out that there's some problem with their anti-aliasing that's just fucked everything up. So, unfortunately, the experience just isn't that good on PC. I played it on Game Pass, and it just wasn't great. What is really keeping the game alive right now is, of course, the multiplayer. So the Halo Infinite multiplayer I played when the game first came out, when it launched for free before I had actually owned the campaign. I actually think the multiplayer is doing really good. I really like the multiplayer. I think that there's a lot of hardcore fans that are really like toxic, that really have fucked up expectations, that expect this multiplayer to be some giant thing. And I get there's like that drip feed into content issue that they've been doing where they just didn't have everything ready, and that is something to be criticized. But I think that a lot of the toxic Halo community really just can't be happy with anything. The multiplayer, from the bit I've played of it more recently, is really good. I like Infection. I played a little bit of it earlier. It was fun. It was great. I've always enjoyed Halo multiplayer, and honestly, they keep going back and fixing shit to make it better. Now there's a lot of items that have cross core components. So there are different cores that you can put different pieces of armor on, and the reasoning that why there wasn't cross core before is because just the shape of certain items wouldn't fit other items, so they had to lock them off to these cores, so these like a Mark 7 suit of armor, or there is an ancient Japanese suit of armor called the Yoroi set of armor. Certain items on there weren't able to work on Mark 7, so they locked them off. Now they've gone back on that for the most part. They're starting to put these items, make them cross-compatible with everything. I think that was a tremendous effort for them to do, and I think it's amazing that they did it. And yeah, I just think the multiplayer is great. I think the multiplayer has so much to it already, and they can only go so much higher. I will say the battle pass, at least the first two, were okay. Those are the ones that I own right now. I mean, I enjoy getting the items, but there's nothing really there that excites me, that pushes me to get them. For the most part, I mean, the Halo Reach one is kind of fun. I like getting all the characters from Halo Reach, but there's not an incentive, I feel like, to keep playing this game consistently. And while I think it fails in that aspect, I think the game is just fun enough that I can overlook that and just enjoy some Halo. And yeah, so is Halo Infinite worth your time in 2023? Not the campaign. The campaign is $80 for something that I beat in 12 hours and that I have no incentive to go back to whatsoever. The multiplayer, though, I would say play the multiplayer. And if you're on the fence, if you don't know if you want to get the campaign, if you're like me, where you love all the older Halo games and you still want to play the campaign, I would say to at least give yourself the chance to play Halo Infinite's multiplayer first, see if the gameplay is more suited to your style, and then go from there. Unfortunately, I would say probably don't get the campaign, just stick to the multiplayer. It's more fun. But you do you, man. And yeah, that's my lazy game review. Subscribe.